Good Tuesday morning, East Tennessee. My name is David Alders, Chief Meteorologist of Captain AccuWeather, coming to you by way of the Captain AccuWeather Command Center. On behalf of Weigel's, fuel and food that's fast, fresh, and friendly, here's your East Tennessee weather update. Got a lot to talk about in terms of temperature. Boy, it's cold outside. I thought today was the 12th of March. I thought it was supposed to be spring break. How could it be 27 degrees in Oneida during spring break? Well, I guess it's just what it is. 28 degrees right now in Jacksboro and La Follette and Middlesboro checking in at 28 degrees. That doesn't seem right to me. I don't know about you, but hey, we'll be warming up nicely this afternoon. It'll turn milder back in the mid-60s, so fear not. But we had a cold morning yesterday. We started yesterday morning at 28 in Knoxville, and so far we've been as low as 33. Knoxville this morning. It's frosty cold. In fact, it's down to 32 right now in Oak Ridge. I believe that's been the low point for Anderson County there in Oak Ridge. But 28 the current temperature in Athens, but a little milder. It's 37 in Greenville, 37 in Madisonville. Would love to know what you're expecting this morning or what you have this morning. Let me know on both YouTube and Facebook. By the way, my friends at Weigel's talked about fuel and food that's fast, fresh, and friendly. Do you know they have this all-new banana pudding milk? Oh, it's delicious. Go bananas for flavor. If you want to give yourself a treat this spring break, pick up a bottle. Why not pick up two? I say it's delicious. It's wonderful. I can't resist the dessert when I'm at a restaurant, and you got to try it if you haven't tasted it, but it's only around for a limited time. For in stores, for a limited time only. It's just better when it's fresh, farm to store in 24. It's just better when it's Tennessee cows. Who would argue with that in East Tennessee? I mean, unless you think that Montana's cows are better, then you go move there, because I can tell you what, it's a lot colder there than here. But it's just better when it's with Tennessee cows, and you can pick up the all-new banana pudding milk. Just go bananas for flavor. Love it. In fact, I love Weigel's as our sponsor. Notice the temperatures are cold. It's freezing in Oak Ridge, freezing in Crossville. It is freezing right now in Wartburg here at 6:42 in the morning. Not much of a problem in terms of visibility. Maybe a little gray area there between maybe Sneedville and maybe parts of Granger County. But that's what that gray would suggest. Maybe a hint of fog in some of the hills, but generally it's pretty quiet. 10 miles visibility would be the max you'd see on that image. Radar showing some purple, actually purple, why color changes, blue. I'm saying blue frost advisories in Atlanta and Rome, Georgia. They got frost advisories in central Alabama as well. So Atlanta and central Alabama in the blue frost advisories, but no real concerns. They got some river flooding still in some green boxes down there, and some snow across northern Maine. That's about it. Things look pretty quiet and will be on a warming trend heading over the next couple of days. Still some rain and snow out in the far west from California back across the Rockies. Tracking the clouds today, there are going to be hardly many of them all. If you get a cloud today, overhead, it's going to be the high thin variety, and most of that will be the second half of the day. But I think it's just bright sun when the sun comes up just after 7:50 is when it comes up this morning. 7:50. I know the adjustment with the clocks have thrown everybody off their game. They're like, I don't know when the sun comes up. It just comes up when it comes up. I guess that's a good way to look at it for sure. But I will tell you this, the big story, still the temperature, because it's 30 in Newport and 28 degrees in Sevierville. If you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, let me know, because I'm trying to do both. And I'd love to know what observation you have, because if you have an observation, I'd love to see it. Let me know. I might mention Facebook. Let's start with YouTube. Steve Stone's quick on the draw. He says, good morning. He's got a happy face. Glad to have Steve Stone on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, let me know what you're seeing or feeling. You might just feel kind of cold this morning. You're like, I got to turn on the heat. What am I going to do? Well, let's take a look. Scroll down and see where the comments. If there are any comments, I can see a few here. Fred says, good morning, Chili. David, it's needing some coffee from Weigel's. I agree. Thank you, Fred, for your support. Appreciate it. Weigel's does too. Good morning, David says, Marilyn Bell. Hoping your family enjoys their visit. Yeah, well, you know what's amazing is that when you have family in town, it's a blessing. No matter what time of year, spring break, of course, is a fun time, no doubt. It is 28 degrees. I mentioned Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Athens, Oneida, and now it looks like 28 for Jacksboro, Middlesboro. So there's some really cold air to start off the morning here on a Tuesday. No winds to talk about, really. There's a few 3s and 2s, so it really limits the wind chill down to maybe freezing in Wartburg. Feels like 30 in Kingston. Not a big deal. Feels like 29 in Morristown and White Pine, I would imagine. Temperatures right now, you look around the state, well, it looks like we're pretty cold right in the heart of the chill. With clear skies, our temperatures are cool. We're down to 28. They are, I should say, in Johnson City. And it's 35 right now in Chattanooga, 39 in Nashville. By the way, it's 6:44. I'll be done at the top of the hour, but I got a lot to cover. Things that you will love if you're on Team Spring, and things that you will love if you're on Team Snow. Maybe. maybe if you like holding on to winter as you go into spring. Have you ever had one of those? Because we're having some spring-like days, in winter, like Thursday, spring fever, even though spring breaks all this week. Spring fever, when the temperatures actually respond to the mindset. The mindset, spring break. So we want spring weather. We're getting that spring weather, especially on Thursday. That'll be the warmest day of the week. But I do want to mention sunrise, sunset times today, 7:50. It'll be going down at 7:41. Of course, we adjusted the clocks. Some of us are still off kilter with the sleep pattern. Some aren't too fond of this change thing that we do. But you know what? You love the fact that it's still dark practically at 9 p.m. in the middle of summer. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, it's still daylight at 8:30, 8:45. Still see some daylight at 9 o'clock at night. Well, if you don't change the clocks, it'll still be dark practically at 9 in the morning in the middle of winter. You know what people think about that? They're like, oh, I like this, but you have to take the other part too. So if you want to consider leaving the clocks alone, I'm an advocate of just splitting the difference. Just go a half hour and leave it alone. But some people don't listen to me. Most people don't listen to me on the clocks, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. A lot of folks love those long days in the summer, but they don't think about the weeks and weeks where you'd still be dark practically at 9 in the morning if you waited to do that in the wintertime, because it's the converse. By the way, you look at the, look at the March 12th, out the door. We're not going to do bus stop forecast. We'll just go out the door tomorrow, this morning, as we'll find lots of sunshine and a few wispy high clouds by 2 o'clock, if not sooner. But look how quickly we warm up. 43 at 10, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's nice. But then it's getting milder at 2 o'clock, and maybe there's a bit of hope today, because I think we're going to outperform. Yesterday, by the way, I should mention, I got my notes here, because you know I'm a note taker. Yesterday, we actually nudged 60. I thought it was 59, but they pulled us up to a 60. So we outperformed today, well, outperformed yesterday, which means we'll probably outperform today and tomorrow, and we'll continue on that, I'd say mid to upper 60s today. I have us at 66 now, but if we hit 67, it wouldn't surprise me today. But we normally hit 60 this time of year. That's the normal. Normal low is 39, so we're much colder than normal this morning. Record high is 82 from 2016, and the record low, 18 from 1998 and 1969. So we actually hit 18 twice in the recent history, somewhat recent history, going back to 1998, 1969. But the sun is up at 7:50. Notice, of course, if you haven't picked up the banana pudding milk, do so. A treat for yourself on spring break. I see some notes from Betty Cunningham. She says, good morning, David. Happy to have you here. And if you're on YouTube, I mentioned Steve Stone. He's on here. Wanda Poe says, I built a fire. It's cold. See, Wanda's staying warm. What is it, about 30 in Newport? I think I saw on the map there, Wanda, so I know you've got to be cold. These trees are blooming, and the weeds are not helping my eyes. No, tree pollen. Tree pollen explodes this time of year. So that's another thing to maybe take into consideration with the high tree pollen, to make sure you take care of yourself and your loved ones, because the warmer air is only going to allow those trees to come alive and sing to the dance. So a sound of music, I guess, the sound of spring. 60 degrees by 2. Here's what I expect for a high temperature. I've moved us up to 66. I was at 65, but as I mentioned, wouldn't surprise me if some of us hit 67, like La Follette, like Athens, and our dear friends in Tellico Plains, Madisonville, could be at 68 degrees today. Can you imagine? That's kind of nice. That's like a 6-degree bump from yesterday, and we're only on a warming trend thereafter, which I'll explore here with the headlines. Tracking clouds and radar. Don't see many clouds, don't see any radar echoes, but we will expect some rain on Friday. It'll start probably as early as 5 in the morning. By the way, milder sun today, pleasant sunshine on Wednesday. Oh, zippity-doo-dah. And then spring fever on Thursday, when we can maybe make a run towards 76, and that's in the shade, my friend. It'll be in the upper 70s in the sun. You're like, I love it. Basking in the sun on Thursday, you're going to feel like, hey, I love Thursday. You're like, I'm taking some time off, you might be thinking, if you're on Team Spring. And if you want to, some of you may be mowing your lawn. I don't know. Some of you have been tempted to do it. I've been hearing the lawnmowers lately. By the way, as we look at the future rainfall, nothing to see here today, just the clock moving. Nothing to see tomorrow, that's Wednesday, just the clock moving. And then we move into Thursday, still nothing to see here. But by the time we get to about 5 in the morning, on Friday into about 7:45 as it stops here, you can see most everybody has had some drop of rain or two. You can see some drops of rain beginning to populate in places like Sevierville, Newport, and Moorestown, maybe more aggressively, a little quicker, in Jamestown, Crossville, and Oneida. So that's where the rain will be initially starting on late Thursday night, but really Friday morning, as you'll need the umbrella to start the workday. Once we move into 5 o'clock, in the afternoon on Friday, many of us may have picked up a half-inch or more, closing on a half-inch to an inch in Fentress and Cumberland counties, and maybe over a half-inch there in Wartburg as well. So keep an eye on that. The rain will continue. Then we'll get a little more, maybe a little more on Friday night. Saturday, I have very limited amount of rain, about a 20% chance. So by and all told, many of us will pick up anywhere from a half-inch to 3/4 of an inch or more by the time this system plays its hand going into Friday, early Saturday. So that's my expectation, and that's where some of the models are guiding us at this particular point. Temperature right now, 35 degrees, one of the colder numbers, while it is 52 in St. Louis this morning, and it's 50 degrees in Oklahoma. They're back in the upper 20s in Bismarck and 29 in Caribou. I got to mention this, though. If you haven't picked up the wonderful Weigel's all-new banana pudding milk, you have to do so. Give yourself a treat. Go bananas for flavor. It's just yummy. It's rich and creamy, and it just reminds me of the Southern iconic dessert that you're used to, perhaps, at a fancy restaurant. Banana pudding milk. It's delicious. It's just better when it's fresh, farm to store in 24. It's just better when it's Tennessee cows. And with the all-new banana pudding milk, having been around for a while, it doesn't stick around forever. We've learned that over the years. Limited time only is the key, and it's in stores now. Pick up a big bottle, or a couple of bottles so that you're prepared to take you through the spring fever of this week. You'll want some banana pudding milk. Check it out at Weigel's. By the way, we jump back to the maps. I want to show you the cold air. It's going to come back. We talked about how spring fever will rule the day on Thursday, but let me kind of burst the bubble a little bit, because we know that colder air kind of lurks behind. And you say, well, what are you talking about? These are what's represented as 5,000-foot temperatures, okay? If you've ever been to Newfound Gap, I use that as an analogy, that's at 5,500 feet above sea level. This is actually below that. This is a little about 500 feet below Newfound Gap. So these are 5,000-foot temperatures. So think of it as a critical level that you need to be cold for snow to form, okay? So you keep it nice and chilly, as we've had this morning. And then we're going to see this real big warm up on Thursday. By 5 o'clock Thursday, I think the shorts and short sleeve shirts will be common. The lawnmowers will be blowing. Everyone's going, they're going to mow the lawn. They're going to feel the urge. And they'll be wheezing and sneezing, as Wanda Poe so astutely noted. But the warm air that you see on Thursday, it doesn't last forever. Just like maybe a banana pudding milk doesn't last forever. Watch this by St. Patrick's Day, which is Sunday night, it's starting to turn colder all of a sudden. Interesting. Oh, wait a minute. The 18th. Hey, we're like one day away from spring. You know, spring's technically on March the 19th. This is March the 18th. Looks pretty cold to me. In fact, you take it to the 19th at 1 in the morning, it looks really cold for the first day of spring. And by this point, some of you might be thinking to yourself, that groundhog was off his nut. He said it early spring. It's the first day of spring and it's freezing. Yep, that's what you're going to say. And if you're throwing some snowflakes in there for good measure, I think some of us will be really angry, especially since you've gotten the tease of this Thursday. This Thursday is going to spoil us. We're going to be all spoiled. That's what happens. Sometimes that happens. It's the back and forth, like the waves at the beach, waves at the ocean. You find it way back. And then you say, well, this is just one little cold snap. We'll make it through. Absolutely. That's the 19th of March, the first day of spring. And you can see how cold it is. Those purple areas usually represent single-digit wind chills and highs in the teens and 20s. So at least the purple area is not here, or at least not yet, at least on the modeling. Because you're always trying to focus on the cold. If you focus on the cold, the snow will follow. Look how this cold air just wraps back around the 24th. Oh, man. You don't mean like it's going to get colder. Oh, man. I see 2 purple areas. That's the 25th. It looks cold, y'all. Hey, I thought it was supposed to be spring, y'all. I thought it was supposed to have an early spring. Not the way this looks. Not the way I've been talking about it. I said, don't rule winter out. Winter has some wild cards still to play, and it's still on the menu, that cold air. It'll surprise you. It'll go, oh, no, I was hoping something. Oh, no, that's the 26th. Hey, it could be cold going into Easter. You didn't just say Easter. I did. Preview members have been hearing it for days. So if you want to join us, we'd love to keep you updated on that. Even during spring break, keep you updated on the cold. Because you know what? If we get a little southern slider between Dallas and D.C., hey, the snow will be something that we'll be talking about too. But that's some really cold air. Purple areas, single-digit wind chills as close by as West Virginia, Ohio, and Indiana. That looks really nasty cold. You guys say, well, that's just there for a little while. Maybe. But it'll come back around do-si-do, and so don't you know, a cold start to spring, even into the 27th of March, into early April. All of this is still on the table, so I just want you to be aware. Don't be surprised, because what do I like to say? So weather doesn't surprise you. If you're surprised, it's because you probably weren't listening to me at all. La, 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 la. It's fine. Just focus on this Thursday, and you'll be none the wiser, or all the wiser, if you've been listening to me so far, that winter will come back. 35 degrees is our current temperature at the airport. No wind to speak of. Let me give you the nuts and bolts. The Valley Planner today. How quickly can we get to 66? Likely to do it between 4 and 5 p.m. It's right now 6:55. I'll be done in 5 minutes or less. But we're still in the 30s right through 9 a.m. Boo, I don't like the 30s. That's fine. If you want to just hibernate until 10 o'clock, we're at least in the 40s. And by lunchtime, we should be in the low 50s with enough sunshine. Turning milder, winds today should pick up just about 5 to 10 out of the south-southwest. So I don't expect it to be that windy, but it's a warm wind. And the average high, normal high, is 60. So we're at about 6 degrees above normal here on a Tuesday. Here's my precipitation chances. Gone up to 80% for Friday. That's where it was last night, but that's holding on to 80%, but it's 0 Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Got some other notes to check in with you. Would love to see what kind of comments that you have. Wanda's on here. Steve Stone is on YouTube. Let's pop over to Facebook. I see Darcy Soar. She says, from Roane County, hope your family's enjoying spring break. Thank you, Darcy. Appreciate you. I appreciate everybody in East Tennessee. May you have a blessed and safe. You know, family is one of those rare opportunities when you can spend time, especially for me, because I have a daughter in college. So when I get to be both daughters, one's in high school, it's just a thrill. So I love that time. Diane says, good morning. Darcy saying, hoping for some more snow. Everyone who thinks I'm crazy talking about the atmospheric temperature will finally believe me. Yeah, I think maybe they'll believe you by the time we actually hit spring, which is on March 19th. Anyway, Team Spring says Fred. Fred is still pulling. I think Fred's day is Thursday. We're going to root for Fred so that everybody gets something out of this forecast. Precipitation chances, 40% next week as well on, say, Sunday and Monday. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has not gone to sleep. They're 24/7. They're watching the skies across the lower 48. And the yellow areas represent scattered severe storms, while the dark green represents isolated. Many of you know these colors by now. There's some hot spots today up towards St. Louis. That's where we have some isolated severe storms, maybe around Kansas City or Columbia, perhaps around Springfield. St. Louis, just some general thunderstorms, as is Chicago, will be fair game. But for us, of course, we've got sunshine, no worries here. Now, come tomorrow, there may be some drizzle in parts of southeastern or middle Kentucky. We'll say southeastern Kentucky, could see some drizzle, but most of the thunder will be back toward Paducah. There are some issues on Wednesday in yellow around Kansas City, St. Joseph, and Topeka. Topeka, Kansas might find some scattered severe storms, while Lincoln, Nebraska may only get the isolated severe storms, as is Tulsa, shaded in dark green. Obviously, Knoxville, no issues. Once we move into Thursday, you know that we're basking in the warmth because we're bringing all that up from the south and west, while our friends in places like Dallas, Fort Worth, places like Little Rock are going to be dealing with scattered severe storms, maybe isolated for Austin, isolated severe storms for Memphis on Thursday, and then the yellow areas across northern Illinois, southeastern Iowa, and central Missouri. Fair game for some nasty storms. And for us, we might get some thunder before 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday, because that does carry us into the morning of the next day. Futurecast does not show any concerns here today. Nothing but sunshine, maybe a few wispy clouds, particularly in the afternoon. Highs around 66. Tomorrow, we're expecting a high temperature around 70. I'd say it's pleasant. And there's that little chance for some drizzle in Kentucky at 7 a.m. Some models want to take it all the way back towards, say, maybe toward Williamsburg. There's some shower activity there, but it really dries up. Don't think it's going to affect us here in Tennessee. I think that's probably just model noise. But once we move into Wednesday night, maybe more high clouds. Thursday is really the nice warm day, and I think most of this rain is going to hold off until we move into the wee hours of your Friday. So there's about, there's 7 in the morning. This is a little slower. We saw one of the models pull it in a little bit sooner. But by and large, this rain will be sliding into town on Friday, where the umbrella will become very helpful. Meanwhile, we take a look at the Futurecast. It's now 6:59. Notice the temperatures are in the 30s. We get up to about midday today. We're in the 50s. And we finish the day about 66 degrees. Not a bad finish. By the time we hit, say, midday or early tomorrow, we're in the lower 40s. It's not bad. 60 at lunchtime tomorrow. We finish the day on Wednesday around 70 degrees. I think you'll like the way Wednesday looks. Looks pretty sweet. So for today, as it's now 6:59, plenty of sunshine, turning milder. Gotta love that. Pair of 6s. Southwest winds 5 to 10. Today, about 64 for Morristown, Talbot, White Pine, Dandridge, and Jefferson City. About 66 for Middlesboro, as well as Sneedville. 64 for Wartburg. As you'll notice, temperature a little milder westbound if you head toward about 70 to the west, and maybe a little bit cooler northeast. About 68, though, for Jackson, Kentucky. Some high clouds tonight. Not as cold. Light winds 3 to 8 miles per hour, and it's now 7 o'clock. We're down to 39, I think, tonight for Kingston, Athens, Morristown. About 41 for Knoxville, and 42 for La Folla. So the key here, not as cold tonight because of some high clouds that will be transient. They're just going to come in, and then they'll be on their merry way by sunrise tomorrow. Here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee. Gotta love Thursday. If you have spring fever, if you don't have it yet, you'll have it by Thursday. 76. Some of us may hit 77, 78 in the Southern Valley on Thursday. 68 on Friday with some showers and thunderstorms turning rainy. And I've got a spot of rain on Saturday, more unsettled weather going into next week as the possibility of getting sharply colder plays a role. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. By the way, if you haven't picked up a bottle of the all-new banana pudding milk, it just go bananas for flavor. I love it. It's only around for a short period of time, but it is yummy. It is rich. And it reminds you of the wonderful dessert that many of us might have grown up with. It's just better when it's fresh, farm to store, and 24. It's just better when it's Tennessee cows. Check them out, the all-new banana pudding milk. I think you'll be impressed, as I have. By the way, if you haven't picked up some of the hot coffee, I hope you'll do so. I hope you enjoy the rest of your spring break. If you're only watching me today, but I hope your family and the time that you get to be with your family is a special time. Anyway, my name is David Aldridge. We'll see you here next time. Take care.